Chris Godinez, host of We Need to Have Fun with Chris Godinez. So this is the second part of the berry topping and vanilla ice cream video. Phone, stop ringing because I'm not answering you. So where we left off is the custard had to chill for 24 hours. Actually, it just needs to get down to, I think they said 65 degrees, something like that. But they said the longer it chills, the better it is. So there it is. Then we're going to add a cup of heavy whipping cream. People, if I could put my stuff where I could find it, that'd be awesome. All right, so cup of heavy whipping cream. So 1 cup, boop. Pour that in right there. There's a cup of heavy whipping cream. And let me get back to my recipe. All right, so yeah, until it chills to 65 degrees, the longer the custard base chills, the creamier your ice cream will be. Once the custard base is ready, stir in the heavy cream and vanilla extract. Okay, so now we got to put vanilla extract in. Hang on. Put this over here, put this back in the fridge. Okay, vanilla extract. So also, while this thing is percolating along, I was going to continue talking about paranormal stuff because you guys had some really good questions. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Okay, 20 points. If somebody can tell me, there it is. So the questions I got were, no, that's half a tablespoon. No, teaspoon, people, teaspoon. The question I got, or the questions I got were, okay, how is it that some people, if I could actually read, there we go. Some people see ghosts and other people don't. Well, I kind of think it is kind of like, empathy. You're either born with it or you're not. So some people are able to be in touch with that kind of thing, and other people, they're not. I also think nature nurtures. So, if you've got a family system that's not okay with, intuition, psychic abilities, etc., they're probably going to discourage you from it. And a lot of kids get told, especially when they're young, they're like, oh, you're just, what a great imagination you've got. That isn't real, blah, 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 blah. Well, my mom never did that, which was kind of cool because her family comes from Ireland. So they've always had, she's always had like a second or sixth sense, which was really good in some ways and really annoying in others. So for example, one of my nieces was sick one time in the middle of the night, and my mom woke up in a panic and called my sister and was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And my sister was like, how the hell did you know? Apparently my niece had some fever. It was like a 104-degree fever. And okay, it's 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And so, my mom just knew. She just knew. And she was that way. She always knew when something was going on. She always knew when something was wrong or whatever. So she was very good at tuning into people, which is great if you're concerned about them, not so great if you're trying to date. So anyway, stirring thing, hang on. So my mom's always had that kind of that sixth sense kind of gift kind of thing. And I apparently got it as well, which is kind of cool. And I think other times people have it. I think everybody's born with a little bit of psychic ability / intuition kind of thing. But I think that a lot of times kids are discouraged. Kids are told, oh, what a great imagination you have. Or, oh, no, you didn't really see that. And that makes me angry because it's kind of like when a kid tells an adult something, they're telling you something important. It's like you should believe them. So just because we can't see it doesn't mean they're not. So that kind of thing. So yeah, and honestly, when we go on paranormal investigations, that's, again, if there's a child involved, that's a priority because it's like, okay, there's something that's upsetting this child and we need to make sure they're okay. And we always believe them. Always, 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 always. So yeah, there's that. Okay, hang on. So I've stirred that. Heavy cream, vanilla. Okay, right, stir that in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to put this into the ice cream maker. Actually, before I do that, so remember that berry topping I made yesterday? Well, John requested that I make this vanilla ice cream and actually the berry ice cream. So I'm going to pour some of the berry topping into the vanilla custard thing that I have here, and we're going to make this a berry ice cream. Anyway, the point being, where was I? So the other question I got was, okay, well, what about tools of the trade? What do you use? So obviously, you're going to have your infrared cameras because you need to see what's going on, and sometimes images can be caught that we can't see with the naked eye. Why? I have no idea. Obviously, you're going to have your digital recorders. You're going to have a temperature gauge. They've got all sorts of new stuff out there that some of us use, some of us don't. So I have a problem with the Ovilus. I don't trust it. I don't. Frank's box, kind of the same thing, because it's kind of like, okay, well, it's kind of like pareidolia. So I don't know if you know what pareidolia is. So pareidolia is the human mind looks for faces. It does. So you can throw up a Picasso-like mishmash of colors, and inevitably you will find a human face in there somehow, because that's what we look for. That's what our brains are trained to do, is to look for faces. So we see faces in clouds, we see faces in smoke, we see faces, on doorways, we see faces everywhere. And a lot of times it's just pareidolia. It's not paranormal. So keep that in mind. Okay, I got that all nice and stirred in. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the ice cream maker. Hang on. Gotta find everything first. Holy cow. There it is. Okay, that wasn't too hard. All right, so what I use is, this summer I bought a Pampered ice cream maker just because I wanted to try it and it sounded good. So, you can get any ice cream maker. It doesn't really matter. Where is mine? There it is. So you have to freeze the bowl, and then you put the ice cream maker on top. Make sure that is. Oh, hello. I need the paddle first. Hello. Losing my mind. Okay, there we go. So with Frank's box, it's kind of like, okay, well, are you just hearing what you want to hear, or is that really what's happening? What's the deal? Etc., etc., etc. I mean, I'm not saying it's not the real deal. I'm not, but I am kind of skeptical. It's kind of like, okay, well, what is going on here? Why does it do what it does? How is it being able to be manipulated? So, power. There we go. So because it's so hot, it's going to be 115 today. I am going to set the timer to 40. Maybe, yeah, 40 minutes. Yep, 40 minutes. And there we go. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pour your mixture, and you're going to make a huge mess. I'm betting it's going to be a huge mess. Oh, God. There we go. Yep, there we go. Into the ice cream maker. And, yep, a little bit of a mess. Oh, where's my paper towel? Oh, okay. So, boop, boop. Oh, man, am I a slob? Holy crap. Hang on. So, I mean, Frank's box, it sounds like it's paranormal and everything, but I don't completely trust it, because again, like pareidolia, are we just hearing what we want to hear? Is this just because we desperately want to be contacting the other side, and we're making things sound like, what we want to hear, what is relevant to the case? And that's always been my question. It's like, well, how exactly does this work? So anyway, I mean, I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm not, because I've seen some pretty interesting, good Lord, I've seen some pretty interesting results with that particular thing. Then there's also the pods, the EMF pods that you set out that get turned on when something comes near it. Now, that has been very interesting. That, I think, is something that is real, especially when you visit a site that has no electricity and everybody's cell phones are off and this thing is going off. That's kind of interesting. So, I mean, the thing of it is when you're doing paranormal investigations and not spilling things on the floor, you want to keep an open yet skeptical mind. So it's like, yes, you're a believer. Yes, this is possible. However, let's rule everything else out. It's kind of like, in a way, it's a lot like psychology. You know, it's like you want to rule physical things out. You want to rule, physical health things out before you jump into a diagnosis. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing with psychology. It's like you want to rule out, is it the plumbing? Is it uncovered or not insulated electrical wiring, which it very well could be. So there was one case we were on in Las Vegas, and it was an old 1950s, 1960s apartment building, and the EMF in there was insane. I mean, I'm surprised people were not having more hallucinations than they were. So, I mean, it was like 300-400 milligauss, which is not normal. Normal is like between 1 and 3, I think. This was like hundreds. It was like hundreds, and there were like conduits, and you could trace them. I mean, you could take your EMF detector and you could trace it through the floor. And these kids' beds were right over this conduit, and they were having nightmares, they were having hallucinations, they were, hearing things, seeing things, and high EMFs can do that. So, I mean, that is always something you want to investigate and rule out, and then figure out a way to stay safe from that, because it can cause all sorts of physical issues as well. Okay, so that's got 40 minutes to go. So hold on, before I cut this off, and then we're going to come back and I'll show you the finished product. There was a couple of other questions I wanted to answer. Okay. Do I have any thoughts on famous hauntings like Amityville or the Haunted Doll in Key West? Yes, I have visited Robert in Key West. Creepy, creepy little thing. Yeah, it is. It is super creepy. And I didn't take any chances. I asked permission before I took its picture. Respect. RESPECT, find out what it means to dead people. Or things. Or interdimensional beings. Or whatever the hell they are. So, one of the things is, the story with Robert is that he was created by a Haitian maid. And she used some sort of voodoo or something to make the doll come alive, kind of thing. So it had its own spirit, kind of thing. Unknown as to whether it is good or evil. Some people say evil. Some people just say it's mischievous, whatever. But things would happen around the house, and Robert would blame the doll. And so then, and the doll was named Robert as well. This is in Key West. I love Key West. It is such a funky little place. Anyway, I have a story about a swimming pool. Don't let me forget that one. So anyway, Robert the doll. So he was left up in an attic, and people would swear that they would see the doll pacing in front of the window and all this sort of stuff. And finally he ended up at one of the museums in Key West, and people have said that if they were disrespectful to him, or if they didn't ask his permission before they took the pictures wouldn't turn out, the whole film roll would be lost, or whatever. Of course, we don't have film anymore, it's all digital, but that kind of thing. So we were there about 10 years ago, and we did visit Robert the doll. It was very creepy. It is a really creepy vibe that you get, and I don't know, again, whether that's just because, I've heard so many stories, or whether that's because it was a really creepy vibe, or whatever, but it's like, the whole time we were there, I was like, please don't show up next to my bed, because I will shit Twinkies in the wrapper. Thank you. So, because there's stories about him being missing from his, case and all this sort of stuff. I think there's some embellishment going on, but yeah, Robert the doll is definitely creepy. Amityville Horror, I don't know what to think about that. I really don't. I mean, I love Lorraine. I do. I think she was a sweet lady. I really do. Do I think it was as bad as they said? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Because nobody else has reported any problems there. People have lived there, no problem. And again, though, it's kind of like, okay, why? Well, okay, so the original case, the kid murdered his family. There was abuse going on, apparently. I'm guessing. I think that's what they said in some of the books. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it because it's on the East Coast, and I'm probably not ever going to go there, and it's not open for investigations anyway. So, anyway, there was abuse. He killed the family, and he also apparently was on drugs and that type of thing, and he claimed that he was hearing voices. He could have had a mental health issue, plus the fact, think about it, if you're doing all sorts of drugs and you're putting a cocktail up there, you're not in your right mind. You are going to hear voices. You are going to have hallucinations. You are going to whatever. And then, you take it a step further. If there is something in the area that is evil to begin with and you're susceptible to it, it's going to work on you. So, yeah. So I don't know that... Wait, the Lutzes were the ones that moved in. The original ones were... Can't think of their name. Anyway, but the original family was the one that had abuse and everything going on. The Lutzes moved in, and then all this stuff happened, and then they moved out 28 days later. And then Lorraine Warren came in, and she did an investigation, and they took a picture, and there's apparently a picture of a small child that actually looks like one of the small children from the original family that was killed. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There is some stuff about the Lutz's story that I think is a little hinky and probably not true, maybe embellished. I know that there was a story going around that they met with somebody and concocted this over, cocktails one night. So, I don't know. And then nobody else has had problems since living there. But again, it could be because, they were more susceptible. Who knows? I mean, some people are definitely more susceptible to paranormal events than others are. It's just like how some people are susceptible to PTSD and others aren't. So, I think nature, nurture, drugs involved, I don't know. So one time we did a case where the person was definitely using drugs. It was interesting because we used to do, when I did the first group, we did a whole checklist of everything, and then we'd go in and interview them, right? And a lot of times people lie, that, because they're embarrassed and they don't want to tell the truth or whatever. And they were actually doing illicit drugs. They were like Percocet, well, not illicit, it was legal, but they were abusing them. So it was like Percocet and Valium and all of this stuff. And they insisted that they could hear stuff. Well, the funny thing of it is that we got the EVPs back, and yeah, they were hearing stuff. There was really voices going on in that house. So just because somebody is using drugs doesn't mean that they're not, not hearing things. So, and this is the other thing. So when you do a paranormal investigation, you want to be thorough. So we have had a historian, and she would go through and she would look up the county records, she would look up previous owners, she would look for any sort of news articles, where was the railroad, where were the water lines, where was the electrical, where was the blueprints, like the whole thing. So I think when people are thinking about doing paranormal investigations, they don't realize that there is a whole bunch of back work that needs to be done before you actually go in and do an investigation. And here's the other thing. Remember how I was talking about do not provoke? Why? Because you don't live there. There's people that live there, and you don't want to be stirring something up and pissing it off and then going, okay, peace out, bye, and then leaving them to deal with whatever is stirred up. So you never do that. That's just rude. Okay, hang on. Okay, do I ever feel scared or worried about ones that might be harmful? Yeah, when I was in Waverly, I didn't like Waverly. I did not like Waverly. I won't go back. I'm just telling you that right now. Because they didn't tell us about the big black on the 4th floor, and like I said, in the surgery room, I got that funhouse feeling, and I didn't like it. And then, the growling and the smell of sulfur, and it's like I said, homie, don't play with that. No, thank you. Take your evil and go play somewhere else. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I would never go back to Waverly. I wouldn't, unless they absolutely had it blessed. Total blessing throughout the entire place. The body chute is definitely haunted. It is. You can hear things. Yes, it is open at the other end, so it is possible, not probable, but possible there are people down there maybe talking, but unlikely. So, have you ever had them try to speak to you? No, I usually don't hear them. I usually see them. It's usually visual. I don't usually hear them. So, would I ever use an Ouija board? Fuck no. No. With a side of no and an extra helping of hell no. Here's the reason why. An Ouija board is kind of like getting into an internet chat and not knowing who you're talking to, right? So like in the old days, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, you would get on AOL or whatever, and you get into a chat room and you start talking to people, and you didn't know who they were. It was just a social thing to do, and you would chit chat, right? So it's kind of the same thing. And, you could be contacting somebody nice, or you could be contacting something really completely, oh my God, evil. So every single friend of mine that has ever messed with an Ouija board has had something terrible happen across the board, so to speak. So no, I do not recommend it. I don't think that's a good idea. I really, really don't. So you do not want to be using an Ouija board. You do not. And it makes me very angry when I see paranormal groups go into places I have investigated in and then use Ouija boards, and then suddenly the proprietors are like, oh, we're suddenly having, poltergeist activity, or gee, the energy has really changed and now it's not so friendly. And I'm like, well, no shit, Sherlock. So yeah, don't mess with the Ouija boards. Some of the stories that I've heard, one friend used it and nothing was happening, right? So they set it aside, planchette was on it, the whole thing. And then one of them said, gee, I wonder, I really wonder, is there a hell? And the planchette flew to yes. I'm getting goosebumps telling me that. And at that point, she was like, that's it, we're done, goodbye, closed it out, took it away, put it away, never touched it again. And another friend who used the Ouija board, it was like they had something attached to them that was not good. So you've got to be very careful. And when you're ghost hunting, you got to understand, yeah, things can follow you home. Absolutely. So you've got to be in a really good, strong frame of mind, and you've got to be willing to tell things to sod off, and you've got to be willing to keep your house clean, keep your mind clean, keep your spirit clean. Don't engage in dark stuff. It's not a good idea. Ouija boards, lower vibration. You don't want to do that. And if something does follow you home, you basically, with authority, get the hell out of my house. Like literally, get the hell out of my house. Fuck off, leave. You're not welcome here. In the name of Jesus, Buddha, whatever, get out. So yeah, you want to be forceful with that. When I came back from Waverly, something did follow me home. I don't know what it was. It was a shadowy kind of like black kind of thing. And no, I saw it in my garage a couple of times, and I was like, get out. You're not welcome. You do not get to stay here. Goodbye. Bye-bye. And I never saw it again. So, so there was that. Okay, good question. So a couple more questions. We've got 25 more minutes on that. Okay. Somebody was asking me about other questions. I'm trying to see if I can find them. Gettysburg. Yes, I have been to Gettysburg. I loved Gettysburg. It was beautiful. But beyond the paranormal stuff, it's beautiful in a really sad kind of way. So we were there in April. I do not recommend going to Gettysburg in July, which is when the anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg is, because the place is crowded like crazy. I mean, it's overrun. We stayed at a little bed and breakfast there. Didn't feel anything. It was not, I don't think the bed and breakfast was haunted. But the town is definitely energetically charged. You can feel it. And when you get out on the battlefield, I like getting up early in the morning, and going later towards the evening because it's quiet. You don't want a whole lot of people around. You don't want, a lot of noise or whatever, because then you can kind of feel the feelings. And for me, I love history. And so my main reason for being at Gettysburg was the history. I wasn't so much there for the paranormal. I was there for the history. And so I was sitting on top of Little Round Top, and I was looking out towards the Devil's Den. And this is not paranormal. This is all historical. And I'm sitting there, and maybe it is paranormal. It was just the overwhelming sadness. There was just this heavy sense of sadness, just sad. And I'm sitting there looking, and it was so beautiful because it was right towards sunset, and the sun was going down, and there was like clouds towards the west, and it was just beautiful. And the birds were kind of still chirping, and you could look out over all the farmland, and it was green, and it was beautiful, and it was gorgeous. And you look towards the Devil's Den, which is an outcropping of rocks, and you see the little stream that was going through, and if you've read your history, that stream ran red with how much blood there was and how many dead bodies there were. And, 50,000 people lost their lives in that battle. And it's just incomprehensible to sit on a beautiful little hill in the middle of Pennsylvania, gorgeous farmland with the birds singing and the beautiful sunset and the quietness, the little breeze whistling through, and to think of how many people died. So, whoops, my computer decided to get stupid. Hang on. All right, let's see if this thing is going to come back up again. There we go. Okay. So it was awe-inspiring and sad and interesting. And is it haunted? Yeah. You can't have that many people dying and not have it be haunted. I didn't experience anything other than the willies, kind of like, hair standing up on your neck, that kind of thing. But Gettysburg was worth a visit, just to see. And the funny thing of it is because it was such a decisive battle in the Civil War, all of these different regiments put up monuments thinking that a war like that would never happen again, that it was like the war to end all wars. So it was really it was sad. It was very sad to see that, yeah, okay, we thought this was the war to end all wars, and yet, we went on to have several more. So it's just sad. But historically, it's very interesting. And I love, we went also to Antietam. Antietam has definitely got a charge on it as well. It's just interesting to see all the places that you've read about in history books. So in Antietam, there's the Sunken Road, and it was a death trap, and they got stuck down there, and they were just picked off one by one. And then you see the bodies and everything, and then you go see the Sunken Road, and you're just like, okay, I am standing where the bodies were piled 12 feet high. This is blowing my mind, like, So I love history. I freaking, which is another reason why I love Jack and Ozzy, because they're doing their world detour, or did their world detour, and it's all history stuff. And I'm just like, oh, I've been there, I've been there, I've been there. That's really cool. Oh my God, so that was kind of neat to see. So when I travel, do I look for paranormal stuff? Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I will intentionally pick a haunted B&B, or I will pick a place to go visit that has stories about it, because I want to see for myself. I want to see what's going on. Like I said, though, because of the proliferation of the TV shows, a lot of these places are charging way too much. People can't investigate because they can't afford it. And a lot of these places, especially if they are not diligent about making people not play with Ouija boards and things like that, suddenly start reporting poltergeist activity, darker energies, negative energies, et cetera, et cetera. And it makes me sad, because it's like, it didn't used to be like that. So, and like I said, not every haunting is evil. And it just pisses me off when I watch TV shows where it's like, oh, it's demonic, oh, it's evil, oh, it's that. I'm like, really? Really, folks? I don't think so. So anyway, there's that. But it gets good ratings. That's why they do it. So anyway, hope that answers your question. Oh, back to the obelisk. I don't like the obelisk because it's like, okay, so you've got a bank of words. Could be being manipulated, may not be. Could be pareidolia for the ears. I don't know. So I'm kind of, I prefer, honestly, the good old-fashioned eyewitness accounts and the, the videos and the EVPs. I like those. I like those a lot. What do I think about psychics? I'm all for them. I am. I am 100% for them, as long as they are legitimate. And I love, the show I love is Kindred Spirits with Amy Bruni and Adam. I love those two because they're so sweet. And it's like, if you'll notice, very rarely do they have something that's, evil and demonic and scary and this, that, and the other thing. And the other thing that you guys got to know is when you do paranormal investigating, it is hours of preparation. Like I said, you got to get all of the historical records, figure out where the electrical is, the blueprints, where's the water, where's the pipes, is it pipes, is it electrical, is it this, is it that, is there a train rumbling by that's causing things to shake, what's happening? So you got to look at the whole area, you got to do your research. Then when you go in to do an investigation, it is literally hours of nothing. Like sitting in the dark, nothing happening, nothing, like hours. So we would usually investigate from 12 o'clock until about 4 or 5 in the morning because it was quiet. And sometimes we got stuff, and other times there was, crickets, like literally crickets. Oh my God, that's the other thing. If you have a cricket chirping, you might as well give up on your EVP, because it's just, that's all you're going to hear is just the stupid cricket chirping. So If you can find it, kill it. If you can't, or set it free, whatever. But if you've got a cricket chirping on it, you might as well give up on your EVPs. So anyway, that is about that. I mean, I've traveled a lot in different countries. I've traveled a lot throughout the United States. I do try to read up on what the ghost stories are in every area that I go to so that I am respectful. You know, it's just, and it's interesting hearing the common themes over and over and over. So that, you know, that I find very interesting as well. Like, for example, one of the common themes is sleep paralysis. So oftentimes people will say that, you know, they see an old woman come, the old hag, come and sit on their chest and they can't breathe and they've got sleep paralysis and they can't move and things like that. And that's not just, you know, here in the United States. That's like every single country has got a variation of that particular occurrence. Now, is that just sleep paralysis? Is that the brain just trying to make sense of the reason why you can't move? Because, you know, there's still a part of your brain that's working and awake and the other part is totally asleep? I don't know. So, you know, that's what makes it interesting. It's like, you know, find out what's going on. So, but if you do join a paranormal group, please realize it is not like it is in the TV shows. It's not. Is it fun? Oh, yeah. And what makes it fun is the people. It really is. It's like the different people coming from different perspectives with different religious backgrounds, with, you know, different ways of investigating. You know, that's what makes it kind of cool. It is hours and hours of preparation. It is hours and hours of absolutely nothing happening. It's hard work because you're staying, you know, you're getting up at midnight, you're going until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you got to pack up, and then you got to go home, and then you got to review. You got to review all of those hours of digital recordings. So every person that has a digital recorder has to go home and listen to it. And we usually would switch. We would switch so that we fresh ears, you know. So you got to review all that. Then you got to review all the cameras, you know. You got to review all the still pictures. You got to review. And then when you gather everything together, you go and you talk to your client and you let them know what you found, you know. And if they felt uncomfortable, we would refer them. You know, we would say, like, okay, if you want help with this, you know, if you're uncomfortable with this thing being around, here's the name of a Catholic church. Here's, you know, here's who we recommend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so that's that. Can't think of anything else to tell you. Can't think of any other ghost stories to tell. I'm trying to think. I know there's more than that, but anyway, that's that. So this still has 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording, which means I'm going to have to edit this, which, good luck. I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's also why I didn't put up the carrot one yet, because it had like doing the carrots, and then I had to take a break because it had to cook, and then I had to come back and show you the finished product, and I've got to figure out how to edit that together, and then I can put that up. So it's kind of going to be the same thing with this one. So, all right, in 15 minutes, I will come back and I will show you the finished product. Okay, so there we go. Keep the questions coming. All right. Okay, so it's been about 40 minutes. So this thing has been going. It's about done. I'm going to show you the finished product. So with the berry sauce that I did last time, you can either set that aside and use it as topping, or like I said, you can pour it into the ice cream and make berry ice cream. So John requested berry ice cream. Haha, we are done. Fabulous. Power off. There we go. Take this off. Ooh, there we go. Take that out. So it's going to be the consistency of soft serve. It's a little soft, mainly because it's so hot. So, you know, you got to realize the temperature in the house is going to have something to do with that. Oh my God, that's good. All right, so here's what it looks like. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm going to pop it in the freezer. I'm going to throw a lid over it, and that came with it. There it is. Pop it in the freezer so that it solidifies a little bit more. And then in a few hours, we will have berry ice cream. So, yeah, there that is. Well, I hope you enjoyed making berry ice cream with me. Now I gotta find room in the freezer. Holy cow. There we go. All right. Whoops. Wait, no, that's gotta go over here. There we go. All right. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation on the paranormal. Again, like I said, if you're going to join a paranormal group, make sure they act professionally. And when I say professionally, realize that it is not a science. We do not know what is out there or what we are talking to, and get with ones that understand the dangers of it, that are professional and kind and courteous to both the the paranormal and to people incarnate, because you want to be with people that are respectful. That is the big thing. You want to respect. You want to respect. Because remember, it's like ghosts, theoretically, anyway, are just people like us. They've just moved on to a different realm. So you don't walk up to a stranger and start, you know, flipping them off and screaming at them and provoking and this, that, and the other thing, unless you want to end up with a fat lip. So metaphorically speaking, you know, a paranormal fat lip. So you don't want that. So anyway, so that's that. I am going to edit these two together because I had to stop because I didn't want to make you guys wait for 40 minutes while the ice cream was doing its thing. So I'm going to edit these two together and put them together. I also still need to edit the carrot one. So I had a request for vegan/vegetarian dishes, so I'm going to be doing that. So the next one after this one, which is actually the first one I shot, is going to be oven roasted carrots, and you can do it either vegan or vegetarian, depending on whether or not you add in Parmesan cheese. So I don't, I just salt it because salt is good enough. So that's that. So we're going to be talking probably about trip tips next time. So thank you for tuning in. Hope this was helpful, and thanks for hanging out with me and asking such good paranormal questions. That's cool. That's it, guys. All right. Oh, also in the carrot one, I also talk about roller coasters. So that's what I'm talking about. Somebody was like, can you talk about roller coasters? Okay. So I did. So anyway, there it is. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope these recipes work out well for you. Remember, the berry one is on. You just look up for strawberry topping is that, and then you pick the one that you like the best. This one was attapinch.com for the old-fashioned vanilla ice cream, the custard kind of thing. So there that is. All right, guys. Have a great week, and hopefully I'll get those other two up, or that other one up soon. So, and yeah. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.